All right, guys, it's time. 9:45 Eastern. The train's coming through, about to make a lot of noise. So, of course, it's time to live stream. Reading over some of the comments before I even got in here. Yeah, I was starting to think that maybe I wasn't even going to live stream tonight because I live streamed on Monday. Then Tuesday I was on with Dustin from Personal Finance Dad. Then I think it was Friday I was on with Brad. I think it was Friday, and then again tonight, and then Wednesday with coming up with Sports Cars Anonymous. I was just kind of like, man, you guys are going to get tired of seeing me and hearing me. A little bit of overkill, so I was kind of going to take a break tonight, but then was feeling good. Was feeling a little sick yesterday. I got my second COVID vaccination, so I was feeling a little bit groggy, but feeling good today, feeling better, and ready to do this. I'm gonna try to be a little quicker on the comments tonight so I can get more questions in because they come in so fast. And I'm gonna try to not spend so much time on each individual one because I get talking a whole lot. The T-shirt, the World Tour, the YouTube, the YouTube World Tour. Yeah. What do we got here? Business 124. What's up? Thanks for joining me, Nico, Michael Ham, always in the house. Miami Mike. We got Tal, Demonic Gabriel, Saudi Family Card, Scott, Paul Drowns, a fountain of knowledge. Thanks, Flippin' Steve. What's up, Joel? How you doing tonight? Damien. We don't miss everybody. Bravos, as I like to say, always along for the journey. Yeah, the second one had me feeling a little sick, but still got through it. And now, hopefully, I'm good. Start traveling again. Had to cancel some plans last year. Get traveling again. Get it back over to Europe. Check out some stuff. Do a soccer game. I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. We got Drew, Bradley, D Peasy, Josh Robbins. What's going on, man? Jason Valentine. All right, guys. What do you guys want to talk about? You guys want to talk about some Champions League soccer, which we haven't talked about, and there's some soccer people. Modern NBA, man, is it ever going to go up? Is modern NBA just kind of in a rut that it's not going to escape with football and the market shifting already to football cards? I have a scheduled video coming up. I'm going to try not to expose any of these, but these are all the cards of the same football player. And I was able to buy these 6 cards by selling 2 cards of another player, and I kind of exposed them. But I just took the profits off 2 cards from another player and rolled them into that player. And it's kind of an experiment that I'm doing where I don't care if I lose. It's kind of a gambling, flipping experiment. I'm going to do a little video on it. But, the Super League, I just started reading about that today. Is it referencing the Premier League? You guys actually have to fill me in on that a little bit. But I saw them debating that, but I didn't have enough time to really read about it and see what's going on with it, things like that. Have I bought any Daniel Jones? I picked up 2 Daniel Jones cards when they were dirt cheap. Now they're super expensive. Or they're not super expensive, but they're more than what I want to pay for Daniel Jones. I got these 2. These are 2 silvers, select silvers, and a concourse, or that's a premier level silver. That's a concourse silver. These were only like slightly over $100 when I bought them, like 120. But now they're like 250, and that's like more money than I want to pay for Daniel Jones at this juncture. Probably end up going ahead and flipping those. Merle, what's going on? So Dortmund and Bayern said no to Super League. Bayern's my favorite team, and I love Lewandowski's my favorite player. They would have won, in my opinion. They would have beaten PSG with a healthy Lewandowski, which stinks. Fester says flippers are the reason cards are way too expensive. It will all collapse eventually. Kind of obvious. there's multiple things why cards are so expensive. A lot of it has to do with the price of product. The price of product is so expensive, so it's making everything expensive. In order to make money off your product, you got to sell it at extreme prices, and grading companies increasing fees. It's multiple things. Flippers could be a part of it, but flippers have also helped the market as well. There's, positive and negatives about everything going on in the market. Any guess for would be a better long-term play, 2020 Select or Prism, with both going retail? Yeah, it's going to be tough with both going retail because right now, even on prior years, Prism is still holding the top dollar, where in basketball we've seen somewhat of a shift where Select Premier level is surpassing Prism as the go-to base card. But in football, it hasn't quite done that because the pop reports on football are nowhere near as high as the pop reports on basketball. Now, I don't know if that has to do with submission levels or if it has to do with print runs or what. It's just there's not as much graded football Prism out there as there is basketball. So it hasn't caused that I'm scared of base card pop report effect to trickle over into Select. And so Prism's still carrying the football market. I still like Select though, just because of the value. It's a little bit cheaper, and if the market does shift to Select, you get in early before the market shift happens, and then you look at a chance to get a double spike. You get the spike out of a player performing well and becoming desirable, and you get a spike out of the product itself becoming more desirable, as opposed to coming in high on Prism and just relying on the player to do well, and actually the market to fall off on the product. Just less risky. Lewandowski cards are so cheap, in my opinion, because he's always played in Bundesliga. He's never been in like Premier League, and people will always discount some of his accomplishments and stuff because of that. Even though Bayern wins titles and Champions Leagues and stuff like that, and he scores tons of goals. If he was to do it in the Premier League or even La Liga, he might be noticed a little bit more. And he would be just as effective in any of those leagues. It's just they pay him so much money, he could never leave Bayern. Sierra says, my mindset on buying raw cards with issues grading companies are having. Do you still buy raw to grade, or selling raw cards to start to carry more value than before? Raw cards are seeing a little bit of a increase in the market right now because I believe graders are buying right now. They're using this because initially raw cards saw a drop off because people were like, oh, well, I'm not buying raw cards to send to the grading companies because grading companies aren't even open. But then people who want to buy and be patient for the grading companies to open started buying because they're just going to stash up raw cards for these next couple months to have to submit, especially at the lower prices that raw cards are starting to go to. So it started pulling raw cards back up, kind of balanced back out. You have you probably have less sales, but they're probably selling for higher amounts. I really don't know where I'm going to go yet. I've sold some raw cards, and I do have some stuff for grading. So I really don't know, and I have some good raw cards that I could sell for, decent money. And I might possibly send them to SGC through a group sub because you can group sub through SGC now for like $37 a card. So even though I wouldn't get PSA value for those, I will still get more of a value than if I sold them raw to outweigh my $37 SGC grading fee. What was the name of the comic shop in Phoenix? Off the top of my head, I can't tell you. I would have to get the card. Let me see. Actually, I shot some videos when I was there, but I shot some videos because I was vlogging, and I was actually going to put them on a video, and I never did that video. So there was a bunch of vlog clips from comic shops and card shops near Phoenix, Glendale, Scottsdale, and Phoenix, actually. Let me see if I can get the name. of the one that I bought the Doctor Strange book from. You can actually see video of inside the store. Well, it's kind of got a glare on it, but all right, guys, we're in downtown. See now. Went to my last stop, which is going to be another comic book shop actually called Drawn 2 Comics. Drawn 2 Comics. By the guy from the last part. It was called Drawn 2 Comics, the one in Phoenix that I went to. If that's the one you're asking about. Sorry, it took too long to find it. Joel says card shows are kind of overrated because the dealers wanting full price doesn't give me much incentive to buy from them. Yeah, I kind of hear that from the only incentive I get from going to a card show is maybe to find a card that I'm not able to find, and also being able to trade in the atmosphere of just being around other, collectors and, just hanging out, and you can trade, you can sell and get cash on hand quickly and things like that. But yeah, I don't necessarily think there's tons of deals because people don't like to come off of market price. A lot of times they're even like, they don't even want to come down. They don't even want to shave eBay fees because their argument is, well, if you buy on eBay, you got to pay sales tax. But I live in a tax-free state, so I'm lucky enough that when I buy off of eBay, I don't have to pay sales tax. I comment on so many channels pushing ads, affiliation, subscriptions is starting to turn me off. Can I comment on many content channels pushing ads, affiliations, and subscriptions? Oh, it's starting to turn you off. I mean, I don't do it just because when I got into YouTube, that wasn't my plan. When I got into YouTube, I just planned on having fun and talking, and I never even expected to be live streaming or anything. I thought I'd get 100 subscribers, it would get old, and I would be done. So I don't look at YouTube as a way to, make a supplementary income, but I don't have anything against it either. If people's content is entertaining and they're able to benefit off of it, because, it does take up their time, and time is precious. It's the one thing that you can never get back when it's gone. And a lot of people put work into their videos. I don't. A lot of my videos are just raw. I mean, look, I'm actually thinking about getting a green screen to put behind me so things can look a little bit better. I want things to look a little bit more presentable for you guys. But people who put a lot of time into their videos and things like that, if they can get a little bit of kickbacks from some people, I have nothing against it. It's just something I personally don't do because that wasn't my plan when I set out. So it's not like I feel like I'm losing out. If my plan was, I'm going to get all these affiliates and it's going to turn into this, I'm going to market myself, and that opportunity came and then I didn't do it, I would be like, man, I'm cheating myself. I should be doing this. But I don't look at it that way. I just look at it as, I feel like the moment I take an affiliate link is the moment I can't speak honestly about something, not because everything's negative, or nothing's good, but because I believe there's positive and negatives to everything. And you take an affiliate link and now you really got to speak positive about everything. You can't give 100% unbiased opinion. But with that being said, creating content, like with me, I do one video a week, sometimes two, and a live stream. And when I was putting out 3 to 4 videos a week, it was just too much. It got to the point where I almost shut down the channel. But in order to keep the channel and to felt like I took some load off, was just to limit my content. So that's what I did. I limited my content because I'm not trying to make anything off of it, and I still want it to be fun. I don't want it to feel like a job. So that's just my thoughts on it. But I don't have anything against the people that do, have the ads and stuff, because, they work for it. So, I guess they earned it. Michael says, hit the like button. Yeah, you guys can hit the like button if you want. You don't have to, but it's cool. It helps me get back into the, because really the only income that I do get is whatever YouTube monetizes my videos for. And, I monetize my YouTube videos because if I don't, they're going to monetize them anyway. So there's that, and believe me, I'm not making tons of money as a YouTuber. I don't even make enough to pay for stuff that I give away. So I see here. Okay, he asked this question already. Why are you the only one to realize Jalen Brunson is the second best player on the Mavs right now? Is he the second best? I think he's like a pretty good, decent player, but isn't Porzingis getting pretty hot right now? I'm not really sure. Jalen Brunson, I don't watch the Mavericks, so I keep up on Luka because he's always in the news, and I have cards, but I don't keep up with the other players. It's got there's just so many secondary players on teams right now, and the market isn't popping for everybody this year like it did last year. Again, thoughts on Super League impact on cards. I should have looked into this Super League before the live stream tonight. I just didn't have time because I come from work and I do this. And I saw headlines and lots of stuff talking about Super League, but I didn't really get to look into it. What's the best way to avoid scammers online? eBay and other platforms seem to side with the buyer 95% of the time. I guess, I do some buying and selling on Facebook and Instagram, different groups and stuff like that. Luckily, I've never been scammed. I actually do more selling. People trust me as a seller. I have bought some cards off of Facebook. Comic books too, as well. A lot of my recent comic book transactions have actually taken place on YouTube auctions, and there's not really any kind of protection there. So are you talking about, you're talking about selling. So you're talking about being scammed by a buyer. Right now, eBay was supposed to change up some of their policies, but they're still really heavily favor the buyer. And even so does PayPal. I had a dispute come in on me from PayPal that was on a card that I had sold over 60 days ago. And it was a while ago, but the card had been sold for 60 days. And then somebody tried to do a dispute, and they said their item was damaged. It was a PSA 10 slab, 2005 Aaron Rodgers Topps football rookie. And what happened was, I sold that card when it was hot, and then it cooled off, and then the person wanted to get it back. So they claimed that the slab had a scratch on it. But I sent my pictures to PayPal. They couldn't file a claim with eBay because it was past 30 days. I sent my photos to PayPal, and I also contacted PayPal, and I said, look, it's been 60 days. This person is trying to get a return based on market changes as opposed to a damaged item. If it was damaged, they should have contacted me within a week. And PayPal actually sided with me. I won that dispute, and they kept the card, and I kept the money. So I guess to some extremes, there are times when PayPal will side with the seller. Considering I've been on the same PayPal account for, like 20 years and never had a complaint. Let's see. GD says, I just made a huge move nobody saw. I wonder if I was keying this person's name in an app. Someone would see it as an outlier on the analytics. It's true, these apps are getting all kinds of info. I'm not sure what he means by that, but what good sites have people found on Instagram for buying cards? Honestly, I haven't found a lot. Like, again, you see people posting stuff individually on Instagram. I've found it's crazy because in the comic book world, I've found tons and tons of comic book auctions that happen almost on a nightly basis on different YouTube channels. And they're really good. And you can find books that you never see on eBay and get good prices. The shipping on all of them has been really good. It's been very pleasant experience. And you just don't see a lot of that in the card market. People just doing nightly public auctions. They get together basically on StreamYard like I am right now with 5 or 6 different people, and they basically live stream an auction. They just be like, hey, I have this comic book. Starting bid is $10. And then people just bid in the comments, and they're like, okay, you won. Instagram me, send me your information, and that's it. And that's how it's worked. I mean, I got these 2 comic books like that. And I showed these in my last video. These 2 Captain America books I got from a YouTube auction. Same with this Shazam book here. But I wish I could find a card auction like that. It would be cool if a reliable type eBay or YouTuber or something would do something like that. What Shazam cards am I picking up? I'm not picking up any Shazam or Winter Soldier cards. I have some comics. I'm not buying any Marvel cards because I bought those binders that was like anywhere between 500 and 1,000 Marvel cards, and I've submitted like 15 of them to SGC. Here's a Ghost Rider that I got back. I've almost sold all of them. There's a Carnage that I got back, but I've almost sold them all. I think that's actually the only 2 I got left. That's the only 2 Fleer metal ones I have left out of 20. And I still have the precious metal gems of Black Widow. That's because I think I might want to keep this. I have a PSA return that's done, finally. It's going to be in the mail. I wish it was a bigger order. It was only 10 cards, but I'm finally getting it back. And I wish it was a 50 card order because I'll be getting more cards back. But I have 10 cards in the mail, so I'll be doing a video reveal for those. And most of them, actually 9 of them are Marvel cards, but 1 of them is a basketball card. And what I did was I sent in a bunch of 1990 Impel Marvel cards, but I sent in 1 basketball card. So like, if this basketball card grades well, it'll cover my entire order in case these Marvel cards aren't worth anything. So I sent 1 good basketball card with that order to try to cover, as an insurance policy. Ray's asked me if I used alt to sell or buy graded cards that's similar to Star Stock. I have not. I'll have to look into it. I've never heard of it, so I can't talk about it, good or bad. So I will. I'll take a look at it. GD says, sorry, it's confusing. It's the apps. Get all kinds of info on the users that they don't publish. Better to just use eBay. Oh, okay. I got you. So you use different apps, and then they give out your info and stuff. One of those things to kind of sell your info and things like that. I got you. Thoughts on breaking sets for the good cards or just keep the set complete? Personally, for me as a buyer, I want singles. I don't want sets because then sets just take up room and you got a bunch of loose cards that don't necessarily hold any value. You remove the hot cards from it and that's pretty much it. Especially if you're going to grade, you could buy a good way to get good deals is to buy complete sets, take the singles and grade them or piece the complete sets out and sell them. So for me, from an investment standpoint, I would buy maybe complete sets to break down, but I wouldn't hold complete sets. That's me personally, though, and I don't like taking in big bulk like that. Which is the current best investment, modern or vintage? Dan, are you talking about basketball? What sport are you talking about? Because I think it's different based on the sport. Hockey is a niche sport. I think the value with potential spikes and cards of ghosts like Gretzky. So when the Gretzky card really hit and it had the big auctions, I thought it would send a ripple effect across hockey. And it did slightly, but it didn't nearly send the ripple effect that I thought that it would send. I have this Lemieux rookie right here. This is an 8.5. And I thought that with the Gretzky prices going up, that this Lemieux would really see some big increases, but it only maybe doubled in value to maybe a $600 card. Didn't really see big spikes. And, Lemieux is probably the next best thing to Gretzky. So kind of tough with that. Adam, when do I plan on doing an HGA submission? It's not when I plan on doing it. It's whenever I can get in because I try every week. So, unfortunately, I don't get in automatically. I wish it would be some kind of perk. Maybe I would say, hey, I'll talk about you on my YouTube channel, but they don't need me to do that. I'm too small, and they don't need anybody to pump them because they're getting business. So I can't get in. I try almost to the point to giving up. Actually, this week I didn't even prioritize it. I had other things to do. I was out, so I was like, you know what, it's not worth sitting and trying to wait only to get shut out and then have missed plans, with going out and having dinner or something. Trying to predict the next move, and some app is getting all the research info. That's not going to help. So if you're trying to predict the next move and an app is getting all the search info, so are you maybe referring to something like Market Movers or something because they have research info on there? My thing is a lot of time, when you see research info on a graph, that graph means that it's already happened. It's already happened. This is one thing I try to talk about. I don't have anything against, I don't use any tools. I don't have anything against them because I'm sure that they save time and they're probably fun to navigate and do things on. And I mean, you can even do YouTube content with them and people will watch. It's entertaining. I watch them sometimes too. So people like the market mover stuff. I just personally have never used it. So I can't say good, bad, ugly, but those graphs are in the past. If you see a card on a graph, it's showing you sold data. If a card is sold, it's done, it's over. That transaction is done. So to me, the moment a card sells, that's old data, in my opinion. Now, some people look at that and say, okay, this is trends, but I can follow trends just by looking at recent sales on eBay. That's basically all an app is showing you. It's just breaking it down easier for you. I haven't gotten any breaks in a long time. Just haven't gotten any. Maybe I'll think about it. Might be fun. I don't do wax. I don't open wax. I really don't do much of anything with wax besides give it away on the channel sometimes if I get my hands on some, or open a pack on a rainy day. But as far as wax goes, when I spend my money on a single, I know what I'm going to get. And, it's already a gamble buying a card of somebody that you think might go up in value. Well, these are all kind of paid off, but trying to find, okay, so a Roy Hachimura, just a premier level PSA 10. That's a gamble. Roy is a gamble right now. He's a long shot rookie with some potential. Well, second year player now, but that's a gamble card, but at least I knew what I was getting when I spent my $40 on that. I could buy wax and not get anything, or I could get something great, but I like to know what I'm getting because not only am I making my decision on what I want to buy, I'm making my decision on what I'm actually, putting in my box here. Yeah, this is kind of what I meant by the graphs. Yeah, you can use them, to read trends and stuff. And it's fun to look at and go back and things like that and help you save time, do comparisons and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it like I said, once a sale is final, it's old data. Ooh, Rob, what'd you say, Rob? In modern football, who would I invest in right now? Oh man, it's tough right now because I kind of hit my targets and I've kind of pulled back because the stuff has gone up already. I've actually flipped, so I don't have it to show you. This is a Kyler Murray Premier Level Select PSA 10, but I bought a couple concourses of these in February when they're only $200. $199.99. I bought a couple concourses of these. I just sold them yesterday. I sold them both for $350 a piece. So I bought them for $200 in February, and I planned on holding them for a while. But because the modern football market shot up already, I flipped out of those two cards. So I went ahead and took the $150 profit on each of them, and I'll go ahead and I'll roll that into something else. I'll pocket a little bit of it, and then I can roll it into something else. But it's who would I buy? Right, and there's one player I'm investing in, but he's a long shot, and I'm doing a video on it, and it's a super gamble, and it's just not even really worth me talking about because I am pretty much 80 to 90% sure that I'm going to take a loss on this, and I'm doing it as fun. It's actually legitimately a project / experiment that I'm doing. I'm trying to see if I could buy this player and double up on him and buy a concrete investment off of this certain player. But it wouldn't, it's not worth me saying, hey, this is who it is. I think it's a good investment because really it's not. It's just basically a price point investment. Pittsburgh, what's going on, man? You guys ever check out Pittsburgh? If you haven't, get over there and sub. I had a live stream going with Dustin tonight. I was over there hanging out, and then I had to come do this, but get over there and check it out, guys. If you're a fan of me, you'll like him. Sam has a nice Rui for sale. Man, I'm loaded on Rui right now, Sam. I don't know how much. I'm kind of done. Like, I don't know how much money how much more I want to do on old Mr. Hachimura there. I have these. This is some Rui stuff. Prism photo variation. Premier level select. 2 light blue select prisms, blue, numbered out of 299. T-Mall Ruby Red Wave. Blue Disco Prism, numbered out of 25. So, you know, I'm pretty much got some Rui cards. Don't want to go too much deeper on that. You remember, yeah, I showed the Kyler not too long ago. That card shipped out yesterday, man. The one that I bought for $200 shipped out yesterday for $350. You know, I could have held. I got in so cheap at 200 that I was happy to take $350 for it. But I was buying them in February. I mean, look how early that is. Like, people haven't been buying football that early in recent. So you had to be really super early this year, because if you're buying now, you're already seeing $150 increase on Kyler selects. And we're in the middle of April. Sam Darnold's a sell. I sold, well, right now he might not be a sell. If you had Sam Darnold, I had 2 nice Sam Darnold cards. I sold them both the same, like maybe 2 days after the trade, because to me that was going to be the best time to sell. There was the buzz. His prices went up. Now he is expected to perform, and the team needs to do well. If the team doesn't do well and doesn't perform, then the cards go down. So I looked at the buzz around his trade as an opportunity to get out of those Sam Darnolds. And I actually took 2/3 of my Sam Darnold profit and bought these. So I pocketed 1/3 of my profit so that I still made some money. And then I rolled that money back into these. And I'm going to see if I can snowball these up. So it's going to be a snowball effect flip that I'm using here. I bought Sam Darnold cheap last year, in 2020, sold him during the buzz, took that profit into another player that's super cheap, and I'm going to try to sell this player into some buzz if he can generate some. So I'm going to try to double snowball this and get to a card at the end and look back at what my initial price was that I bought these Sam Darnolds for. Say Curry had 48 tonight. I knew he had did he have 10 games in a row with 30 or more points or something like that? I have a nice Curry rookie. I was just about to eBay it. The only thing, here it is. The only thing is that this is an upper deck rookie of him, first edition. It's a 9.5, but it has 2 10s on it and 2 9.5s. It's got 9.5 on edges, 9.5 on corners, 10 on surface, 10 on centering. So this in a PSA is around $1,600 to $1,800, but I'm scared if I go to sell my Beckett, I'll get $700 for it because it's Beckett. I don't know if it's worth cracking and resubmitting with these subgrades on it, or if maybe I'll get a premium for it because of the subgrades. Maybe I just put a buy it now on it and then not risk it going to auction. We'll see. So that works. Yeah, so the Donovan Mitchell injury happened, and when I talked about, and this has nothing to do with Donovan Mitchell, but when I talked about Utah last week maybe it was on Dustin's show, or it could have been, I can't remember. They're all running together. It was on with Dustin and Brad, and I had my own. we talked about Utah, and I talked about the fact that I didn't like Utah because they weren't very deep. And if Donovan Mitchell has a bad night or if something like this happens, then all of a sudden, what does Utah have? At least with Jamal Murray going down for Denver, a player like MPJ can step up. Jokic, MVP level type player. So a team like Denver, a little bit deeper. A team like the Lakers, a little bit deeper. Look, the Lakers have been playing without their top players. So that's what I didn't like about Utah. Was if something catastrophic happened like this, or if he just has a bad night. That's why it's going to be tough for Utah to beat a tough team in a series. Guys, I'm going to come down. It says buy it now, Curry at 1K. You think it'd sell with those subgrades? Yeah, it might. Alex Smith retired today. Very respectful quarterback. Probably not a Hall of Famer or anything like that, but had a decent career. Just like I like this game. I thought Alex Smith was a stand-up quarterback. Am I picking up any 2015 in soccer? Thanks, and keep up the great content. So Adam, 2015 in soccer. So are you looking at like maybe select product? Is that the year of Rashford's select rookie? Let me see. I might have. I have a ton of soccer cards that need to be graded. I have vintage stickers. I have modern prisms. Here, is this a 2015? Well, this is a 2016. This is Anthony Martial. Tricolor. So 2015, I'm not really sure. I have whatever year was Rashford's rookie, 2015 or 16 select. I have a bunch of those in silver prisms and tricolor prisms like this Anthony Martial at PSA right now. I'm waiting to get those back because those cards are going to be pretty good. One of the hottest soccer players right now, though, and this is a guy that I talked about a lot. So I actually hit on this guy. Hopefully you guys did also, was Phil Foden. When everybody was buying Mbappe and Haaland and stuff, going all the way back to the summertime, I kept saying, this guy's affordable. Okay, so this guy's affordable. These other guys are really pricey. Phil Foden is really affordable. And I bought a bunch of Foden optics for $11 a piece, all off the same buyer. He had them listed for $11 a piece. And I bought 6 of them. I think 4 of them are at PSA right now. I sent them through Sunday League Investors. So I sent a handful of them through Sunday League Investors. And I also have a couple of his Don Russ press proofs that I bought off Amazon, of all places. Go figure. Oh, there's a prism, Phil Foden. So they're not all submitted. But those optics are now hitting $900 in a PSA 10. So I'm hoping I get some good grades. I may have even given one of those optics away on the channel back when it was like a $20 card. So that's sweet. I hope that I did. If I did, then I gave somebody something awesome. So that's cool. There they are. There they are. Yeah, 2 Foden. I also picked up 2 Foden Don Russ rated rookies, and these are silver press proofs off Amazon. These were like $5. These were like super cheap. Like, I just found them on Amazon. I was like, Phil Foden. I put it in on Amazon, and I bought those optics on eBay and picked up these Don Russ super cheap. That's one that I'm actually excited about because I haven't done a lot in soccer because I'm waiting on a huge submission to come back, and I want to see how I did. But the fact that I hit on those Foden cards is pretty cool. Yeah. Yep, he's blown up. Like, I didn't even really know. My cards have been at PSA so long that I haven't been tracking the market on them. And then I was scrolling Instagram, and I saw on Instagram it popped up a Phil Foden chart and was talking about his optics 900 in a PSA 10. And I was like, dang, I know I got a bunch of those at PSA. So that's going to be a good order, considering I only paid $11 a card for them. But also, Man City is in the Champions League and could win it. And if I don't get my cards back during this peak, they could settle back. They could drop 50%. Right now there's just a lot of buzz, and he's playing well in Champions League. Thoughts on any U.S. women's national team players to invest in? I would look into the older player. I mean, Mia Hamm stuff is expensive. I bought some Carly Lloyd stickers. I think it's 2011 World Cup stickers. I also bought a young player. I think her name is Megan, or is it Mallory Pugh? Mallory Pugh. I bought a couple World Cup stickers of her just because it can't hurt. And because soccer is big with, the young girls, the young ladies, they like to play soccer. So soccer is not only, appealing to guys because they play it, but there's lots of girls who play soccer. And the players that they look up to in most cases are probably a lot of the U.S. Women's national team. The U.S. women's national team always tend to be in the news for the wrong reasons because, they complaining about pay and stuff, and that's a whole complete different discussion. But I don't know if that affects them. I don't know if that affects them with, in the market or not. Well, I think I see Ben. Ben, are you my Olajuwon guy? You must be with the avatar. Haven't seen you in a while. Ben, are you the one to pump in Olajuwon all the time? PSA 9, 86 Fleer Olajuwon is a great steal, a great buy right now, in my opinion. It's getting around that $1,000 mark, and a PSA 9 for an Olajuwon, that's a good price. Not cheap, but good price. What do I think about soccer stickers? I love the old stickers. As far as new stickers, I think that people like cards. So, back in the day when you didn't really have cards and you only had stickers, the stickers hold lots of value for that older stuff because that's what you have. When stickers and cards have to compete, I think your usually best bet is to go with the card if you're looking for ceiling. If you're looking for ceiling, I would say go with cards because I believe they'll have the bigger potential in high price. When you're talking about a rookie card, when you're talking about comparing two from the same year. If it's a 2018 sticker of someone and they have a 2018 card, the card is probably going to have the higher ceiling. But if you're going back and trying to get a rookie sticker of I don't know, who can I use as an example? Okay, I just pulled this out of my thing. If you're going back and you're looking for like a 1980s, 1985 Roberto Baggio sticker, that's going to probably hold more value than his first card, which probably didn't come along till after he retired or something. They just didn't make cards back then. I don't know if I got any Baggio fans out there. This just happened to be the card I pulled out of the box. And I invested in a bunch of this stuff back when it was super dirt cheap. And this stuff had taken off, even in low grades like this 6.5. That's actually a good grade for a 1985 soccer sticker. Like this, I got a 5.5 Johan Cruyff, which is a good grade considering what this is and who it is. Like this stuff just doesn't grade well. Bunch of miscellaneous stuff here. Lewandowski sticker. Jimmy Greaves rookie. A lot of people have never heard of him. This is in a PSA 8. I got it for $40. I said, what would I have to lose for $40 on Jimmy Greaves? I have this Pulisic card, but I have no market on it. It's not a rookie, but it's like a select die cut, numbered out of 69, and a BGS 9.5. This was before he took off also. I bought this for $50. So really probably going to make some money on this if I decided to sell it. I just haven't tried to move any of my soccer stuff because I bought it so cheap. Mohamed Salah rookie sticker, only printed in Serbia. So again, a rare sticker of a good player. And I bought that stuff so cheap that I'm in no hurry to move it. It's hard to find a market on it because there's no pops on it. Modric. Actually, my most recent soccer purchase was, and I just happened to be scanning and found this Luka Modric sticker in a PSA 8. Now, no, it's an 8, and it's a 2008, so you probably want a higher grade. But, when I see a sticker like this for like $60, even though it's a PSA 8, I'll buy it. Just because there's hardly none in the pops. Real Madrid's in the Champions League. Zidane. I had a Zidane in here also. Another Zidane card. And I bought this for under $50. This was like $45. This is a 1998 Zidane World Cup sticker. This is his first World Cup, and France won the World Cup that year. So, significance behind the sticker and the player. Under $50. When I see this kind of stuff, I can't turn it down. Maybe I waste my money in the long run, but I can't turn it down. Like the Rolling Stone sticker that I bought, I couldn't turn this down. I had to go back and see what I paid for this because I was made an offer on this. I paid $75 for this in October 11th. I'm negotiating a sale with this right now. I actually put it up on eBay for $5,000, and I actually had somebody offer me $3,000. So I'm like, I might sell this $75 sticker. At the time when I bought it, I was just like, hey, I got to buy that. It's only 3 of them in the pop. I'll be a Rolling Stones fan, come along someday and want to buy it. And that's kind of what happened. Let's get back into some questions. Thoughts on sportscasters? That's a tough one. I mean, if they become bigger personalities than just a sportscaster, because if you look at a guy like Pat McAfee, his cards got to hold some value because now he's got like a huge social media following. He's more than a sportscaster. He's got his podcast. He's been in wrestling and stuff. So stuff like Pat McAfee, rookie cards on the Colts have actually gone up in value based on that. As sportscasters themselves, I don't see a whole lot in it, but I could be off. I would probably, if I'm going to go outside the box, I would probably go a different route. Most of the time when you find sportscaster cards, they're mass produced. And it's a thing where you hear a sportscaster, you don't get to see them a lot. Usually people need camera time to be relatable. A lot of times you can hear an announcer and know their voice, but not even know who they are or what they look like. And a lot of them, if they have a history in the game, I mean, that helps. Like down here, we have John Madden. But John Madden wasn't just an announcer. He had the whole huge Madden football franchise, and he was a head coach. He was like a Hall of Fame coach of the Raiders. So he has more going for him than just an announcer. Ricardo says, how would I price a serial numbered card, PSA 10? Would you go with the buy it now at high price and a best offer option? Probably. I wouldn't go too high, because if you go too high of what you might think an estimated market will be, you'll just scare people off. You want to put a price that you're going to be happy with, first of all. Don't put it up there if you're not happy. Make sure if you're happy with, if what you think you're going to get for it is going to make you happy, then it really doesn't matter what you price it at. Some people are happy with $10 and some people are happy with $1,000. So, if you put it up a little bit more than what you want for it, that way you give yourself some wiggle room for negotiation to make your buyer feel like they're getting a deal as well. And that way both of you walk away feeling happy. But if you overprice, you might scare a lot of people off. They may just not even negotiate with you because your initial asking price, they'll probably just assume that you're not willing to come down to where they're comfortable because you're asking way too much out of the gate. It's going to all depend on how long you want to sit on the card and wait for the right person to come along and overpay for it or give you what you want for it, and how much money you got tied up, and if you need those funds to get into something else, things like that. Oh, I got you. Sportscaster is a brand of cards. I got you. They're the big. I know what they are. They're the big beat the house sports and politics. Thanks for that. They're the big They look like they go into like a projector or something. Am I right? They're like the big square cards, and they got like the yellow bottom and the white top. If I'm right, let me know. I think that might be what you're talking about. It's kind of like ViewMaster. ViewMaster used to stick it in a little thing and push the side down, and it would show you like a little reel. It's kind of like that, but I think you insert the card into like a stereo or radio or something, and it might actually talk. I'm not 100% sure. You'll have to let me know if that's what you're talking about. But yeah, I do know about those. It just the way that it sounded, sportscaster kind of sounded like you're talking about announcers. Amara says, yeah, the big cards, the sportscasters. Because there's a Maradona. I think there's a Maradona sportscaster card that I actually looked at buying once. So I do think there is some collectability in there. Criminal Minds, prices are sinking. Why? Okay, so it depends on what you're talking about because not all prices are sinking. Modern football is up. Baseball is way up. So I'm going to guess that you're referring to basketball. Let me know and what sport you're talking about, and I will tell you why I think that it's sinking. I might not be 100% right, but let me know what sport you're talking about because football and baseball are up. And it's probably going to be your answer. If you're talking about basketball, more than likely, 75% of your answer is what I just told you. Basketball's down because football and baseball are up. All markets are never up at the same time. Guys talking about that out there? Geez, I thought I'd grab by some Chrome F1 singles. Nope. Like F1 racing, not much into the F1 or IndyCar or a whole lot of what that's talking about. Whoa. Why is Jordan sinking? Because there's nothing going on around him right now. He's just a victim of the entire basketball market. The entire basketball market's coming down. For the most part, 80% of it's coming down. It's bringing Jordan down with it because right now there's no reason for his prices to hold. And they spike so high that there has to be a slight market correction and a stabilization effect. It'll happen with everybody. It'll establish a new floor. And next time that there's a reason for them to go up, they'll go up even higher than they did initially because the new floor is now higher. But yeah, they're sinking, but they're not at ground or starting levels of what they originally started off at this year. Yeah, Jordan went up too much, too fast. Yeah, just market correction. I'm looking at this. Jordan will go up next month at Kobe Bryant's Hall of Fame induction because both of these players are down right now, guys. The Kobe tops that spiked at around 11 grand in a PSA 10 is now back down to where you could get them. I saw somebody buy one at a card show for 5,000. Now that might have been a little bit of a deal, but they're down. Not cheap, not cheap at all. $5,000 is still a lot of money, but in a PSA 10, but they're down. Jordan, Kobe, both down. Hall of Fame induction speech will put some spotlight on them, will tug at some heartstrings probably, might get some people to chase, might see a slight spike. I don't think it'll spike the way we saw when there was a run on 80s and 90s and early 2000s basketball this year. That run was just crazy, and that's why the stuff is back down a little bit because that run was just too ridiculous to sustain. It was like a sprint and then ran out of gas as far as, a marathon that just went for a long time. Any Top Shot talk? Not for me. I just sold a moment tonight. I checked before I went on. I sold a Zion moment for $1,500. So again, another moment that I bought back in January for like $20. I sold for $1,500 tonight. Now, at one time, this moment was probably a $3,000 moment, but I sold it tonight. I've almost gotten all my money out of there. So I'm not having trouble getting my wire transfers through, and it might still be an issue for some people, but I've actually gotten a lot of my money out of Top Shot into a whole other separate bank account, and I'm using some of it to buy singles, but really I'm selling singles to buy singles right now. I'm selling off some stuff that I don't want, snowballing it into some items that I do want, and using some of my Top Shot a little bit as well. I still have a legendary LeBron Top Shot moment, numbered out of 85 from Deck the Hoops, where he's shooting a three-pointer over Luka. I still have that. I pulled that out of a pack. That's like a 50K moment, and I pulled it out of a pack. So that was just the Top Shot gods giving me some luck. And I haven't sold it yet. I don't mind if I sell off every single moment and I just hold that one to see what happens. Magic and Kobe's documentary would include Jordan as well. Well, I don't think their documentary is going to be the same though. Magic will have a Showtime's Laker documentary that will probably show them beating the Jordan Bulls. I mean, anything basketball between the 80s and 90s is going to have Jordan in it, but won't necessarily focus around him. Again, Jordan's popular enough to where he doesn't need documentaries and stuff to spike his cards. He's just right now it's just money is in other markets. Look at some of the top players from other sports, and you see that money's in other markets right now. Top Series 1 NFTs, I don't plan on it. I don't know. Maybe I'll wake up and change my mind. As of right now, maybe not. You have a Jack Nicklaus Grail, 20 to 30,000. Would you send it to Golden Auctions? Which card is that? Which card is the Jack Nicklaus Grail? I'm not really sure. If you're going to sell something at really high dollar just to protect yourself from a scammer or something, you might want to sell it through a consignor, whoever you want to go with. Usually people don't go with Golden Auctions unless it's going to be like 100,000 or more. I don't know. So this is where I start to get confused, where people start talking about gas fees and things like that, because I'm not into the crypto realm. So I've heard of this stuff, but don't know a whole lot about that. Let's see. Does PSA 9 cards have a ceiling? Well, generally speaking for PSA 9, it depends on the player and the card and the sport. PSA 9s, look at the value of PSA 10s. PSA 9s will always go up slightly with PSA 10s. Now, the general rule of thumb used to be a 9 should be worth at least a third of a 10. However, on really rare 10s and on really desirable players and stuff, we're starting to see that rule of thumb kind of get kicked to the curb to where, a Jordan PSA 10 rookie and a PSA 9 isn't necessarily 2/3 the value of a 10. But, on lower end items, it kind of is. Any PSA 9 base, ultra modern, I'm completely staying away from, because pop reports on the 10s are going to be so crazy that the PSA 9s are going to probably almost not even be worth the grading fee. For instance, Roy Hachimura, who I was talking about earlier, PSA 9 Prism base rookies of him are like $25. I mean, right, even a player like Tyler Hero, who had all the hype, PSA 9 Prism base, probably like $30, $40. I mean, that's less than a grading fee. That's less than what it will cost you to buy a raw card, get it graded, and the only way you're going to make money is if you get a 10. So for people who like PSA 9s because a 9 is a nice card, they'll still hold that value. Also, people who can't afford PSA 10s, they'll still hold that value. PSA 9 will kind of turn into a budget card, which it already was. But even more so, I think it'll be more so of a budget card as opposed to actually going to a different brand. You'll just be able to buy PSA 9s in a top brand. Ceiling will be limited by the card, how new it is, pop reports, and things like that. So it's not a direct answer for PSA 9s in general. I think it'll be circumstantial to the card. So it's the Barrett and Company SGC 9. Probably. I'll have to look it up and see what it looks like. I have a couple Jack Nicklaus cards. For some reason, the market has called his 81 Don Russ his rookie, although he has older cards that are also even more highly collectible like this. Again, PSA 9 in select, or we're talking about ultra modern basketball, I guess. There's deals out there, and right now, if I'm buying PSA 9s, I'm not buying base, because base in a PSA 9 right now, when you have more PSA 10s in the population than PSA 9s, that's a problem, in my opinion. That means there's more of a better grade in the pop than there is of the lesser grade. And these cards are massively printed and massively graded. When you look at Zion is going to push 20,000 PSA 10s, and then you look at him having 10,000 PSA 9s, what kind of value do you put on a 9 when there's 20,000 10s and they're already way overpopulated? Now you're talking about a lesser grade it's got 10,000. It's to me, you got to go variation on your 9s. I'm still buying 9s, like I said, but variation is what will still make them desirable. A base card in a 9 can easily lose. So here's a PSA 9 I bought of DeAndre Hunter. This is a courtside Red Wave Select. It's a PSA 9. If you're going to go with PSA 9s, I would recommend stuff like this, like even an optic hollow in a PSA 9. This might have been like $60, so it's still a good deal. Only $60 for a PSA 9 optic hollow. Silver Prism, DeAndre Hunter in a PSA 9. So, as opposed to buying a PSA 9 for $25 of a base card, I would rather throw in another, okay, so for instance, this Tyler Hero PSA 9 Silver Blue Prism. This is a PSA 9 numbered out of 299. Doesn't matter what the pop report gets to. This is out of 299. That's all there will ever be, regardless of a pop report. So, you can buy this card in a PSA 9 base for around $40 to $50, or you can put another $30 on top of it and get yourself a way better card that's still a good value and still not super expensive. And it's going to be easier for you to get rid of, as opposed to selling base cards like everybody else. This is ridiculous. My logic's flawed. PSA 9s have a lower pop, therefore more valuable. I'm sure that's a joke. By that argument, you'd be able to say, well, a PSA 5 is worth more because there's only one. My plan on DeAndre Hunter is not to hold super long term. I'm hoping he gets a little bit of a pop if he comes back for the playoffs and a little bit of buzz, enough for me to flip out of him and maybe reinvest a little bit later, or hold half or hold a couple and sell a couple. So we'll see. I do like him in the future as I think he's a really good player. So people like profits, but today I sold a Mason Greenwood for $60 and bought a 1936 Jesse Owen for $30. No complaints. It's probably a cool card, a 1936 Jesse Owens. I like stuff like that. I don't know if you watch my outside the box videos, but I like but I like the outside the box stuff. See, Criminal Mind says all high-end cards and bought into some breaks. I can't move shit because people are cheap. I don't know if it's people are being cheap or if people are just got cold feet. Like, I don't want to say scared, but people are so worried right now with if you're talking modern basketball, what it's going to do. But that's the thing, if you wait and see and it goes up, then you're going to be like, man, I waited. Now it's late. Now I'm paying more money. So it's all the gamble and what side you're going to go on. To be honest, I think buying some of these greats and vintage cards right now is a smart move because that market went down. I would not be a surprise at all if that market went back up before modern. So I could see, 80s basketball getting a big spike again before modern sees it, even though we have playoffs coming up. That spike on modern may not come. And if it does, it'll probably just be for maybe 5 to 8 players that are really, people got a lot of confidence in going into the playoffs. It won't be everybody and anybody who just comes off the bench and has a good night. There won't be as much speculation. There won't be the bowl effect and things like that. Thoughts? You're late to the stream. Thoughts on why the hobby hasn't embraced Steph Curry? They have. Curry cards are going up. His Topps Chrome has gone down in the PSA 10, but that's because all high end cards like that have come down, like Jordan, LeBron Chrome, the Steph Curry Chrome, because those prices that we saw selling a couple months ago were so high. But other Curry cards are going up. I actually planned on putting one up for sale on eBay tonight because I think it's a good time to sell. He's so hot right now. He's like the hottest player in basketball from a performance standpoint. And the Warriors look like they may get in at least into a play-in game or could sneak into 6. If they sneak into 6 with Curry carrying that entire team on his back after they were kind of written off, yeah, he's going to get a lot more respect in the hobby as opposed to just being a great shooter. He's going to get a lot more respect. You're starting to see it in some of his cards now. Actually, I'm looking to maybe sell because I look at this as an opportunity. He's playing so good. Freddie, I am not a poker dealer. I am not a poker dealer. Tampa Home Investors says he agreed that high end can sit a little longer because even though it's probably a better investment, there's less people playing there unless they're iconic cards. Yeah, in my last video, or no, 2 videos ago, I was comparing some modern card prices to some older card prices and which one would I pick based on length of hold and if I wanted to flip or make money right now. And I was comparing like Jokic to Olajuwon, and I was like, if I wanted to buy now, I would buy Jokic because I feel like he's the person I can make more money off of within the next 2 months. But Olajuwon is the type of player that I feel like I can make more money off of in the next 2 years, if that makes sense. So it wasn't me saying one of them was a bad investment or a good investment over the other than the circumstance in which you're looking to make your money in, your window. Can you buy a Jokic Prism for $1,500? And if he wins MVP in the next 2 months and Denver goes back to the Western Conference Finals, can it be a $2,500 card? It has that type of potential based around his circumstances, and you could sell that. Where Olajuwon is a little bit more of a longer hold because he doesn't have anything going on around him right now. Still a great card to buy, though. Let me see. Steve, answer this truthfully. Are we in a new junk wax era and just don't know it yet? It's going to be an opinionated question because nobody knows truthfully because nobody knows print runs. I believe stuff is way, way too mass-produced, and there's the demand for it right now. If demand falls out of it, again, I've already said that I'm not buying base, and I know base is liquid. It's harder to sell a serial numbered card. Trust me. That's what I've been buying. and that's what I'll be selling, serial numbered rare stuff. It's harder, a little bit harder to move because people like base, liquid, simple cards. But just for this reason is why I'm buying those cards, because they'll always have collector appeal. So, as far as it being junk wax, anything's junk wax once the demand goes away. And there's going to need to be really high demand to sustain these print runs. Which of these three still have a chance to succeed in the future, if any? John Collins, KPJ, Cam Johnson. The best player out of them right now is John Collins, but ask yourself the question about John Collins. See, it's kind of apples and oranges a little bit here because John Collins has played in a couple years. He's a starter. KPJ, everybody knows his issues, and Cam Johnson isn't quite starting yet. So, if we were to what did I do? Anyway, I blew up my screen somehow. I don't know how I did that. Oh, I got it. Learning curves. But anyway, if we were to throw somebody in there other than John Collins, you know what you're going to get. I mean, he's like a 20-point-a-night guy playing well on Atlanta, but just very plain. Doesn't get a lot of hobby love. Doesn't seem like the type of player that's exciting or likable. Trae Young will always be the first guy people look at when looking at the Hawks. So if you're talking about value and cards having potential to go up, John Collins, because we kind of know what we're going to get already with him, we kind of know what the market on him is. If you're talking about being a player, he's the best player out of those three right now. KPJ, I just can't put money into him because, it takes one more stupid mistake for him to be irrelevant. Cam Johnson I like because he's young. The team is young. They have so many young players in their front court that he doesn't get enough minutes, but when he does get minutes, he's effective. And he's probably affordable. So probably when you're looking at price point, Cam Johnson's probably the cheapest because he has a less hype. I think KPJ has way too much hype driving his cards. And I think John Collins, you know what you're going to get. Would I send to HGA, BGS, CGC and take a loss on potential or wait for PSA? Well, time's money, and you can miss a market spike if you don't have your cards in your hand. So, it all depends on, in HGA, the thing about HGA is people always say, will you send your cards to HGA? It's not a matter of if I would send my cards to HGA. It's a matter of if I can get into HGA. So I kind of don't consider, I consider HGA a wild card because you're not guaranteed to get your cards in with them. And even if you do, you can only get 5 cards in at a time. So it's not like you can submit a bulk order to HGA. You're probably going to pick out 5 really nice cards, and that's what you're going to send them. And you should probably try that every week. CGC, I haven't messed with them yet. Their slabs are just hideous. And, the biggest thing about HGA is turnaround times, and people love their slabs, which is causing them to gain interest. The grade was almost secondary. It's almost, they look good. The slabs have high quality. They got fast turnaround times. I'm going with them. It wasn't even, hey, are the grades reputable? CGC, questions with being reputable on grades. Now with comic books, they're the PSA of comic books. But their slabs are hideous. If they had a little bit more of an appealing slab, people might look at them more. BGS, who knows where BGS is at? Nobody's heard from them in forever. BGS is in a cave under a rock sleeping somewhere. So they haven't told us if they've shut down, if they've not shut down, what do their turnaround times look like, prices. There hasn't been an update on BGS in forever. So SGC, which you didn't even list up here, is who I like to go to when I want to make some money a little bit quicker, and I don't mind taking a small percentage loss or even a 30% percentage loss in comparison to PSA. You know, as long as I bought the card at the right price and I'm still going to make a profit on it. SGC, you can group sub right now for $37 a card. So yeah, they do have the $75 a card, but if you get in through a group submission, it's $37. So there's value. They're only $37 a card. PSA, when they reopen, is going to be more money than that. You know, like the HGA slabs, I picked up my first one the other day. I don't know if you saw the video on it. It's actually really nice. Now, some of the labels go a bit to the extreme, and they could be, you know, yeah, some of the labels are so, like that Tua label that everybody saw that had people and stuff on it. It was a bit over the top. The color splash and jersey match labels and stuff, I think those are reasonably appealing. But some of them, yes, they do go. I will agree on the labels going a little bit over the top and making the card look a little, a little childish. It would kind of be like a display piece. But this Zion that I picked up here, that I think the label on that is toned down enough that it looks respectable. I don't think the label on that is bad. The slab itself, they have the best feeling slabs that I've felt. Little bit bigger than PSA to the point to where, may take a little bit more room up in your box. Might be a little bit harder to stack. But I don't like to stack my slabs anyway because I don't like to scratch the surfaces up on them. Doesn't make a sense to me that people like to stack up their PSA slabs, scratch the surface on them, and then try to sell them on eBay. All mine go in team bags or bags, which then they can't be scratched. But the simple versions of their labels I like. Again, it's personal preference, though. It all depends on who you're trying to sell to and things like that. You always find the right person to always buy something. Do I have any cards that I will not sell no matter what I get offered? That's a really good question. If I do, they're probably not down here. Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's down. This is a 1975 Panini Pink Floyd sticker, PSA 8. There's only 2 of these in existence, and there's none graded higher, and I own one. So probably not sell that. Now, I don't want to be like Ted DiBiase and be like, everything's got a price. But, I mean, somebody would really have to give me a lot of money to come off of this. It's one of my favorite things that I have. I bought a really old Iron Man comic book the other day, number 2, Invincible Iron Man. This thing is pretty crispy for how old it is. I'm going to get this graded. I found somebody selling a bunch of really, really high quality Silver Age comic books. Very rarely do you find Silver Age comic books in this kind of condition where the spines doesn't have a whole lot of ticks and the coloring's not off, and it's still got nice color on the cover, like the orange and the yellow. This is going to be a good book right here. Sorry, I got a little bit off. Pearl Jam is probably my favorite band. Depends on what mood I'm in, but overall, yes. Pink Floyd is also, but Pearl Jam, yes. I actually I got this at a concert in Rome, Italy. I went to Rome, Italy to see them because they weren't playing in the U.S. In the summer of 2018 in June. And I went to the soccer stadium in Rome, which was huge. It was pretty cool. Yeah, Sean, just check out this Iron Man. You should see I got 2 Silver Age Thor books last night. I'm waiting for them to come in the mail. I bought them off the same seller that sold me this because I know that this guy has really, really high-end Silver Age comics. So I'm looking to get them graded just like cards, guys. There's an opportunity in the comic book market right now where, you can buy raw and get graded, which is almost non-existent in the card world right now. And it only takes, maybe 2 to 3 weeks to get a comic book graded. You can get them pressed and cleaned and pressed. I got this old Hawk with Rhino in it. But Shazam 28, The Rock is going to be playing this character in the next movie, I believe. Black Adam's going to be played by The Rock. So I'm buying Shazam number 28 to get graded. As soon as people see The Rock playing them, be flipping comic books. There's multiple places. I have a shop. I would say a local shop, but it's actually like 2 hours away. I don't have many local LCS's comic or card shops near me, but there's one probably about 2 hours away from me that does comic book grading submissions as well as clean and press, and I can actually take my items to them. I don't have to mail them to them to do it. So I can take them, drop them off. They'll take care of my cleaning and pressing and submit them, and then they'll get with me when I get them back. So I'm lucky enough to be close enough to somebody that does it. Modern Lando comics, I haven't looked into those. I know a lot of Star Wars books are just hot. Star Wars books are just hot across the board. Even the new stuff of characters that aren't in movies but are in like some spec series that's respecting coming up and things like that. I was buying Lando cards. I thought Lando cards were undervalued. Where's a good start to jump into the comic book market? Okay, guys, when it comes to comics, my knowledge on comics, and I'm doing lots of research, I'm trying to learn, but my knowledge on comics isn't as much as it is on cards. I actually talked to a guy who does a comic auction every week, and I asked him if he would be interested in coming on a live stream. And my live streams usually run for like 2 hours, but I was thinking about maybe bringing him on here for like 30 minutes to answer some comic questions about what is cleaning and pressing and stuff all about, and how do you evaluate a comic book for grading? Because I don't even really know what to look for when it comes to, when I look at a card, I pull out my magnifier right here, and I got my LED lights, and I go to town on it, and I evaluate it. With a comic book, I'm not 100% sure what I'm looking for, so I have questions as well. I actually Instagrammed him today to see if he would like to come on for like 30 minutes, answer some questions for me and you guys. If that's something you guys would be interested in, I'll reach out to him again and maybe have that happen sometime, just to answer simple questions like that, because I don't necessarily have the answers, and I'm not going to pretend like I do and make them up. What does my wife think about my time spent in the hobby? My wife is awesome about it. I limit, I balance my time with my family and my job and my cards and things like that. Most of the time I shoot my videos, when she's at work or not home. And like right now, she's actually in bed, but doing the live stream. But yeah, she's good with it because she just knows that it's something I like to do, and she trusts me. I don't blow all her money or anything like that. So, and I have a completely separate, my cards and my hobby money is completely separate. It's a complete separate bank account. We have a bank account that our paychecks and stuff go into, and we handle our own business and pay our bills. And I have a complete separate bank account that's strictly attached to my PayPal and my Cash App and anything to do with cards. And I don't ever touch my personal bank account for cards. That separate bank account is strictly for my card investing. So Albert, you'd like to have somebody on that has a little bit of comic knowledge? Okay, that sounds cool. The Hammer's talking about Bitcoin. I have some friends trying to get me into Bitcoin. I actually thought about pushing some of my Top Shot profits into Bitcoin because I was like, what do I have to lose? All this Top Shot money that I made, luckily, is just extra, So I am thinking about going ahead and doing that. Yeah, PSA would not be ready to go with all of their services by July 1st. They may open up another service or two, bulk and like economy and stuff like that. They're still a ways away on that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's like September, October maybe, but we'll see. Again, I had 2 orders myself sitting at PSA. One of them just got shipped back to me, and another one that has been sitting in the grading phase for 4 months just got pushed into assembly. So since this shutdown, I have seen progression in my orders. I also have a big order out through a group submitter and another maybe 20 card order out through Sunday League Investors, which is a soccer submission that I did through them. They have a YouTube channel as well. I don't know the status on those because I have them out through third-party submitters doing those for me. Let me see. Agreeing with Cards, Guns, Collectibles, PSA is working on something sneaky. Yeah, that's possible. I watched an interesting YouTube video today, guys, and I don't know if you watched it. A channel, I believe is called Retro Hoops Collector. If you don't watch him, he has some good videos, really good perspectives on SGC. He really likes SGC. Where he put up today's video was talking about him putting up an auction for an SGC card, and in his auction, at the end of it, he put the letters PSA, which you do to get yourself into the eBay search engine, so that when people search PSA 10, they at least see your SGC listing, which I know some people get annoyed with that, but I think to help you out as a seller, it's not a bad thing to do as long as you're not misleading with it. And he said it ran at auction for a while, and right before the auction was about to end, eBay removed his auction, saying that he was selling a counterfeit PSA card by listing PSA in the description, is the way that it sounded in that video. You guys can go check it out. Retro Hoops Collector, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what the name is. And I don't know if that was maybe PSA working with eBay saying, hey, from now on, we don't want people putting PSA in their listings if it's not a PSA card. But my argument to that would be P, S, and A are like 3 letters of the alphabet. Like, how are you going to like copyright that? Also, your company is Pro Sports Authenticators. Your company, we call you PSH for short, but the name of the company is Pro Sports Authenticators. So it's like how all some people think PSA means public service announcement. I do evaluations and stuff because I'm a manager at the casino. I do things for people called pay scale adjustments. I'll be like, hey, I need you to come to the office and sign a PSA. I say that all the time. So PSAs could be an acronym for anything. So for Pro Sports Authenticators to try to claim that PSA is theirs, you can't use it on eBay, sounds ridiculous to me. And I don't understand. And I don't know if that's really what happened. I'm not saying PSA did that, but for some reason he was saying his auction was removed, saying that, he was selling a counterfeit PSA card because it was an SGC card, slab, and PSA was at the end of his listing to get him into the search engine. You guys can check that video out because it's pretty, it's pretty interesting. And that's something that could be new because I do it also. I have listing right now for, when I list these Marvel cards, like I showed you earlier in these SGC slabs, I put PSA at the very end of the title. No, I don't put a question mark. I don't put PSA crossover. I don't put anything like that. But at the very end, if I have room for 3 letters, I just type PSA. eBay is crapping the bed, clamp down on listing description. Maybe should also protect sellers from the buyer's remorse return. Yeah, I know. The buyer's remorse. All right, we're talking about a big card here. What card are we talking about? Tony, I see you made it. You're at the wedding reception. Eating some of that good reception food. Having some champagne, some champagne. Yeah, Retro Hoops keeps it real. Yeah, I enjoy his videos, guys. What card did I miss? We're talking about. Okay, hold on. I can't believe the Rocks rookie is at 38K on PWCC. So that's probably a Panini rookie sticker. You know, rarity and popularity. So if you have popularity and your cards have rarity, you're going to get some top dollar from high-end collectors who have money to waste. It's almost like a bragging rights type thing. Hey, I got the Rock card. Everybody look at me. Now it's going in my box. Yes, I would hard agree with this NBA diamond stuff. It's ridiculous. Steve, why do I put PSA and eBay descriptions on non-PSA graded cards? To get yourself into the search engine. It just helps you get more eyes on your card, which as long as you're not misleading, I wouldn't, if it's misleading and you're trying to make it sound like you have a PSA card or like PSA crossover, like, yeah, this is a SGC 10, but it'll be a PSA 10, something like that, I don't agree with. But if you just want to throw a PSA at the very end to try to get you in the search engine, because many people don't search SGC. And, it can be beneficial to the sellers and the buyers. A buyer might find a card that they weren't necessarily looking for that they realize they can get a good value on, and the seller has a chance to make a sale, as long as it's not misleading or anything like that. I've never had any returns or any complaints from anybody, so I believe my descriptions are fair. There could be some out there that could be misleading, which I don't agree with that. But yeah. So search manipulation, I guess that would be one way to put it. I mean, I to get myself in the search engine. Any suggestion of cards to buy on Star Stock? Use your code to get an extra $10. I haven't looked over a Star Stock for a little while. I would probably look into maybe some underpriced football rookies, maybe some backup quarterbacks or something if you feel like you could get a steal on some backup quarterbacks, because that'll be the type of cards that you would want to have on a platform that you could move very quickly just based on the fact of some buzz or a starter going down. People get caught up in the moment. You have like a 24-hour period to move on some backup quarterbacks and get them sold, something like that. Marcus Mariota did that last season with the Raiders. If you were sitting on a bunch of his cheap prisms that were like $5, $6, $7 raw on Star Stock, they moved off of Star Stock platform at like over $60 a piece when Derek Carr got the groin injury. So you can look for a couple backup quarterbacks that you like. I wouldn't throw in a bunch of, all backup quarterbacks aren't going to get a shot and generate buzz and things like that. So you got to be selective. But that's something I would look at, because I'm going to guess that a lot of the popular players are already kind of pricey. But yeah, baseball kind of with me right now. I'm not buying much baseball unless you want to. It's too early to speculate on baseball, and a lot of people are peaking right now. You may be able to find a couple under the radar basketball NBA players, like maybe somebody like a Landry Shamet or something. If the Nets push deep and he has a good outing like he did last night when Durant got hurt, but he's kind of been a guy that's been around and people have been waiting. And I don't look for basketball players to pop off like that during the playoff this year. So backup quarterbacks is probably like a safe, smart play on Star Stock. What's the biggest investment miss I have made over the past year? Let's see. I talked about when I was on with Brad the other night, PSA 10 Prism, Anthony Davis. I bought it $2,500 last year. At the time, it wasn't a miss because after I bought them, they pushed up to $3,800, but I didn't sell. and then now they're at about 18 to 2000. So I missed my peak to sell, and right now I'm about $500 down if I was to sell. Now I haven't sold. I still have the card, possession of the card, but I missed the peak, and now I'm actually under my buy-in. So that would be one. Another one would probably be, let me see. Let me think of a good one, because there's lots that maybe I take a very small loss on, but what would be a good one? It's just me being full honestly, because everything's not a hit. You do miss. Let me actually look through some cards in here. See what might have been a miss. I usually tend to invest safe and try to buy at the basement. So most of the stuff that I've missed on is stuff that I caught myself up on impulse buys. Oh, not that. I would probably have to say Jason Tatum prisms last year, because I was buying those at around 900, and then when I sold two of them, I took 700 for them. So I took losses on both of those, but I did really, really, really good on Jason Tatum optics and selects. So my optics and selects made me a lot of money, but I lost because I reinvested some of that money into prisms, and then I took small losses on the prisms. So that's another one. Jason Tatum and Anthony Davis. Now the Tatums have sold. I took that $400 loss on two prisms, but the Davis I still have. Again, Jordan with another banger. Do I own any one of ones? I've only ever owned one of one, and I sold it. And I pulled it out of a pack of 2019 Select Football, and it was a green silver prism, or green prism checkerboard looking card, die cut of Mike Ditka. It was an autograph. So it was a Mike Ditka one of one auto green prism looking card. I don't know the exact name of it, but yeah, it had the one of one stamp on the back. ONE, OF, ONE. They actually you probably typed the whole word out. But yeah. Oh, Ruby, good night. Go do your homework. I thought you were sick. Is it just you? Is it really hard to find quad 9.5s on HGA slabs? I think it's tough, because I think HGA could quite possibly be the toughest graders out there at the moment, because their hybrid grading approach system is pretty tough. The Zion that I bought actually has a 9 on centering, and I don't even know how you grade the centering on that card. There's no borders on the front, and the back is not off center at all. But again, if I'm going to buy an HGA card, I'm going to have to take one of the grades at a 9 instead of a 9.5. I would probably rather take the centering, because that's probably going to be the grade that another company is more forgiving on if I ever wanted to crack and resubmit, which I'm not in the habit of cracking and resubmitting that much. In fact, I may have done it once, and I've only tried to cross cards over 3 times, and I actually left them slabbed. I sent 3 different slabs to PSA in the slabs that they were already in, to see if PSA would just cross them into their other slabs. I didn't crack them. Whoops, real quick. Celtics question. They're getting it together. They look like they've been winning some games. They've slid up into 5 or 6, I think, in the East, which is way better than where they were at. They have really good wing players, and wing players recently has been what has been. The teams that have been successful recently have really good wing players. The shooting guards can only get you so far. The big man is a thing of the past in the NBA. Really good wing players, and we got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So if they can stay hot, we got a shot. Roboto's someone 6. It's a really nice cartoon show everyone should watch. It's called My Life as a Teenage Robot. Is anyone else familiar with that? I am not. Steve, last question before you go watch JD from NY. What's my worst investment? What's he going to be doing live on tonight? Is it a Monday Night Raw review or something? My absolute worst, it may actually be the Anthony Davis that I talked about earlier. Yeah, it may be the Anthony Davis that I talked about earlier. Probably. Yeah, I think it's the Anthony Davis. Man, Kobe White, 19.7 assists, but he was probably 30% from the field. He probably took a ton of shots and eventually scored 19 points. I liked Kobe White coming into this season. His shot just hasn't developed this year. Hopefully it gets better, but I have a couple of his cards, and I moved a couple of his cards. I moved enough to get my money back, and then the ones that I have will be profit. I just had to be like, hey, I got to get out of some of these Kobe Whites before he tanks on me. So panicked a little bit. Got my money now, so worst case scenario, I break even on him, and he just needs to develop his shot. Young player, and that's what young players need to do, progress and get better. But when I checked the game tonight, he was shooting like 30%. And yeah, you're going to score points if you continue to take tons of shots, but he's just not very efficient yet. No Smart or Kemba. Smart is just a great role player. You know, last year when Kemba got hurt, Smart had a bigger role in the playoffs. Kemba's way too inconsistent. I mean, they're good players, but Kemba will go out and score 25 or 30 and then come back and score 5. He's just kind of in the twilight of his career. Good there at the point. But if the Celtics are going to be successful, it's going to go through Tatum and Brown and those guys maturing and getting better. Tatum and Curry shot the lights out the other night. Sean, thanks, man. Have a good one. Like the Captain America shield there. Is that the Captain America shield or the U.S. agent? Gary Trent Jr. is a better investment than Kobe White. That could be possible. I saw somebody ask the question on a different show about Tyler Hero or Gary Trent. It was actually on like a bigger and an NBA channel, and they actually leaned still towards Tyler Hero. It wasn't even a card show. It was just a basketball show in general. Who do they think is the better player with the better potential? And they compared Gary Trent and Tyler Hero, and they slightly went with Tyler Hero. But Kobe White, Gary Trent, the only thing is they're both young. I don't know Kobe White's age. He's been less younger. This could be very true, Josh. Anthony Edwards looks really good. I've heard bad things about Propstein, especially recently. I mean, these big consignment houses, they kind of, the biggest thing with them is a lot of times their auctions go higher because it gets shilled up, not necessarily by Propstein himself, but because Propstein Auction House lists the stuff. People can track their own auctions from home, go on to eBay and just shill their own auctions up. Not saying it happens on every auction because maybe not every seller is corrupt like that, but low-end parallels of modern basketball cards that I like. I like anything that looks okay. First of all, I like any variation. It doesn't have to be numbered, but I like stuff that is aesthetically appealing. I like uniform match. So a lot of times I'll chase uniform match regardless of the parallel. So my parallels might bounce around a little bit. In my last video, I showed I showed this tricolor prism, Trae Young tricolor. Now, tricolor prism isn't numbered. It's not super duper rare. People like silver prism better in the select, but because the tricolors from 2018 were gold, red, and white, it automatically matched Trae Young. So just by coincidence, this color matches on this parallel. So I like that. If you're looking at mosaic, you got blue reactive, you got red prism, you got orange reactive, you got all kinds of different things. And I think you can look at those mosaics and color match those as well. And it doesn't really matter which one you buy, because in the end, people are going to buy the one that looks good. Sorry, I'm digging over here, but I'm trying to show you some examples. Maybe. Oh, Tyler Hero, T-Mall Red Wave. I like T-Mall Red Wave stuff. It's a lot more rare than people think. It looks really good. It's not serial numbered because they just don't serial number the T-Mall stuff that printed like in China, but it doesn't have the super mass production. So here's two different mosaics. Now, this is a red mosaic of Zion. I just think that looks good with his uniform and his red shoelaces. So I like that as a bit of a color match. And then here's an orange reactive of Ja Morant, which I like because Vancouver is written in orange. His shoes are orange, and the ball is orange. So I think that looks good as a color match as well. So those are the mosaic stuff is a good bargain. Mosaic in general as being a decent card, and you can get some good pop and some good eye appeal on some of the lower end parallels of it. Like I think this Ja Morant card, the Ja Morant card only cost me like $240. That's not dirt cheap, but for Ja Morant, who's a hot young player, already graded in a PSA 10, in an orange parallel, I thought it had good value to it. Oh man, what search queries do I try on eBay for outside the box value finds? Okay, I type in Panini Contanti because I search the Panini Contanti stickers a lot. I'll type in soccer sticker rookie or soccer sticker PSA and just see what happens as far as I'll just get lists of soccer stickers, and that's how I'll find a lot of my older soccer stickers. Or, a soccer sticker that's not necessarily a rookie, but it's a nice sticker. Let's see, what else do I use? I search all kinds of stuff, man. I'll just type in G.I. Joe cards. Anything. What's more important to the value of a card, stats or wins? It all depends on the perception of the player. If the player is putting up really good stats and people think that he's a victim of circumstance, then his stats can outweigh the wins. Right now, that is what's carrying Zion's cards, because Zion has been one of the only players to see progression in modern basketball, and the Pelicans aren't winning. So his hype generated the original prices, and his production has held the hype up. He didn't let down. So his stats right now are carrying his cards. Now, if you go long periods of time where all you get is stats and you just can never really get it done, then it gets old to people, like a player like Russell Westbrook, who's a triple-double machine. He's a stat machine. He's a fantasy basketball machine. But because he's not winning, his cards don't get a lot of love, and it's old. He's so good as a stat producer that he's expected to get triple-doubles. So now, because he's been doing it for so long, it's not even crazy that he's getting triple-doubles. Steph Curry is putting up all these 30-point games, and people aren't even surprised. They're like, well, it's Steph Curry. That's what he does. So eventually wins will have to catch up because the stats and the scoring will get old, and you'll get labeled as just a scorer. So it's going to circumstance around time, the player situation, and things like that. Because I just give you a couple different scenarios where it affects these certain players differently based on the points in their careers. This is a name I was going to bring up, Damian Lillard. Very, very good example. I almost said Damian Lillard and Russell Westbrook popped into my head. In the end, when someone retires, if you're talking about, the end of a career on somebody, it will be titles over stats. That's what people tend to be remembered by. If you go back and you look at the 86 Fleer basketball set, Olajuwon is number 2 out of that set for a reason normally. Barkley is usually number 2 or 3, but that's because he's still in the news. But then other guys like Patrick Ewing and Dominique Wilkins, and those guys don't hold as much value because they didn't win the titles. But they had a good enough careers to where their cards were still worth money. But they're not the top guys from that era because they didn't have the titles. So Luka has to win a ring or MVP for. For what? What? So Luka's goal. Are you talking about Luka cards? Are you talking about Luka's legacy? Are you talking about Luka in comparison to people saying he's the next Larry Bird? He has to win a ring or an MVP for what? For what's your end game here with Luka? Yeah, Dan Marino. So Dan Marino was one of those guys that I'm talking about where he was a victim of circumstance. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Marino fan. Look at his cards. Look at his rookie card was one of the hottest football cards a couple months ago. That thing took off like a rocket ship. Believe me, I wanted to buy one. I got outpriced on it. And he didn't have the titles. But he revolutionized the position. If it wasn't for a player like Dan Marino, the quarterbacks that are playing today and the way the game is played today, where it's a passing game, wouldn't necessarily be the way that it was. He revolutionized the position. He was the first thing that people had saw. He was the first quarterback throwing the ball, 40 plus times a game. That was unheard of in his era. No, he's like the Jimi Hendrix of quarterbacking. He revolutionized it. Luka card value. There'll always be some value on Luka cards because of hype, but you're seeing his Prism card is not moving. It's not moving at all. And he's putting up triple doubles. The Mavericks are winning. He is in the MVP talk. And that card's not moving because of pop reports. Just simply put, there's not enough demand for the supply on that card at the moment. And I don't know if there's anything that he can do to make that card desirable again to the point to where, demand meets supply. I could see his other cards surpassing it. If he was to win a title, I could see his other cards going up. That Prism card, though, it's just a card that I feel like has gotten old, boring. It's stagnant for sure. And, what has he done to warrant being $1,200 card? Honestly, it's a $1,200 card. Why? Because he's had 2 good seasons in the NBA. Freddie says he feels like Kelly is super undervalued. I'm going to guess Jim Kelly. Don't tell me you're a Buffalo Bills fan, man. Kelly just didn't have the stats because he was more of a game manager. They were a pretty good team, the Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s. I feel like they beat Miami in the AFC East or in the AFC title game like 3 out of the 4 times probably. I respect that team. I respect those players. Kelly just doesn't have super huge numbers. And, man, I don't know if it hurts him for being remembered for losing 4 straight Super Bowls. I don't know if that hurts him or not. USFL Steve Young, that card was iconic. It's pretty cool. Probably undervalued. Probably lots of cards from a USFL set are undervalued. Kelly's in that set as well. Now, I would probably say a Steve Young 86 tops is probably a tougher grade. That 86 top set is an impossible grade. Bills Mafia. I have two buddies of mine I work with, super Bills fans. They're from upstate New York. They used to work at Turning Stone Casino. They moved here. We're in the casino business. But they jump through tables and stuff in their driveway and things like that. Yeah, they beat the Houston Oilers one season, but there was 3 other times that they beat. They at least beat Miami maybe 2 of the other times, I believe. All right, guys, we're approaching 2 hours. If we don't have a yeah, the Reggie White's in at USFL also. We're approaching 2 hours. You guys got some more comments you want me to hit up before we call it a night? I'll hang out and answer some more comments. If I missed a comment earlier, feel free to put it down. Don't feel like you're spamming. If you have a YouTube channel or anything that you'd like to share with anybody, I don't mind if you put that in the contents. I'm all about the community growing, and I'm not all about who's the most popular and who's got the most subscribers. So feel free to use my chat to advertise your YouTube channel if you have one. Uh-oh, here we go. Here we go. Hold on. What's this? If I was hanging from a cliff and I had a chance to save yourself by grabbing the hand of either Deshaun Watson, Lando Calrissian, or Kyrie Irving, whose hand would I choose and why? I'm not using Kyrie Irving because he's probably not strong enough to pull me up from the cliff. Man, I'm probably going to have to take Deshaun Watson's just because he's a quarterback. You might have a strong arm. You might be able to pull me up. I don't know about Lando. Like, I trust Lando, so it's not a matter of trust. And I know you say, are you the one that calls Lando the worst trader ever? But I trust Lando, but I just don't know. You know, I'm a big guy. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull me up or if we're both going over. How about Sylvester Stallone? You ever seen Cliffhanger? I'm going to pick him. I've looked at some old Joe Louis cards. They look awesome. So I just haven't decided what I want and if I want to pay some of the prices. This is a possibility, Scott. This is one thing I thought about. If it going retail makes the product more popular as a whole, then yes, I could see people starting to chase people who weren't familiar with Select because they only know retail. Could maybe go back and Select could gain more steam. But Select has been gaining steam anyway to where it's becoming more popular than Prism in the premier levels. So it doesn't necessarily need that. The one thing about the new retail Select, they've gone to 4 tiers now, though. It used to be concourse, premier level, and field level for football. Now they have like a club level or something. So now there's four tiers. And I don't know if they did that because it'll allow them to print more cards without printing more of the same cards. You know what I mean? So you add an extra tier in, which means now you're printing more cards, but you're not reprinting the same card as many times. I'm not sure. How do you get a hold of me if you have comic books you want to get rid of? I have an Instagram. It's usually linked, and a Facebook group. They're both linked in my videos. If you want to hit me up, just let me know. Signature cards or RPAs for prospects, I do, but it depends on the card because a lot of times the lower end, high end cards, if that makes sense. So you have lower tier of the higher end brands. So you got National Treasures and like Immaculate and stuff, but then you got brands like Spectra, which are like the low end of the high tier, or they're like the low tier of the high end, whatever you want to call it. Those tend to just kind of fall into a state of purgatory where they're just kind of lost in the mix because high-end collectors don't want them because they consider them to be low-end, and then low-end collectors that like base cards like Prism consider Prism to be their high-end, and they don't dabble in that stuff. So they kind of get lost in that where the high-end collectors don't want them, and then the low-end collectors don't want them either because that's not their cup of tea. So some of the lower-end stuff, RPAs, like Origins and just off brands, basically stuff that Panini just puts out to try to sell to make more money, but it's not necessarily product that's going to hold any kind of. If I was buying a LeBron James rookie card that won't break the bank, any thoughts on which I'd go after? I don't know the market on LeBron right now, to be completely honest, but I do love his 2003 Fleer and maybe a PSA 9. Now, I may be quoting you a high dollar card. I own that card. It's upstairs in my box. But I bought it because I like it. The tops, with the value of the tops base being worth so much, I just feel like the Fleer is so underrated and got more room for growth because it's not, I don't know, people forget that Jordan's rookie is a Fleer. So LeBron Fleer, I just believe, is a nice looking card that's underpriced, in my opinion. 2003 Fleer. Do I think BAM is a good pickup? I just sold a BAM card that actually I think Tao had been looking at a BAM card that I had. I just sold a Prism Ruby Red Wave and an SGC 10. Somebody from Australia bought it, so maybe BAM has some fans in Australia, but I really don't look for big spikes in BAM cards. It's tough on the Heat because they spread the ball out so well that when you look at the box score for the Heat, everybody scores in the upper teens, 19, 18, 17. You don't have really one guy that just blows up. He hit a game winner the other night, but you can't base your investments around game winners. Great player, but they went to the championship last year and his stuff didn't spike too high, which means what is going to drive him now? Start, bench, cut. Dan Marino, Mahomes, Favre. Well, I'm cutting Favre because it turns the ball over too much. And it depends on when we're talking. Like, I'm starting Marino. In today's NFL, where you can't touch the quarterback and you can't touch the receivers, and you don't forget he called all of his own plays and all of his own audibles. There was no like headsets and shit and offensive coordinators telling these quarterbacks what to do. Basically, as a quarterback nowadays, all you got to do is go out there and operate. You just got to go out there and execute. So Marino could execute, but he could do everything else too. Call his own game. You don't need an offensive coordinator. Dan Marino is going to call the game. And that's my story. I'm sticking to that one. But I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't be upset with Mahomes either. Not the Fleer trio. Not the Fleer trio, Trigger Finger. Not the trio with like Wade and Bosch on it. But the regular Fleer. The Fleer, yeah, the Fleer Tradition. I believe that's the one I'm talking about, the Fleer Tradition. He just looks like a young dude standing there with his Cavs jersey on. I have that in a PSA 9. I like that one. No, Jordan, you got this backwards. Marino was not the Manning of the 80s. Manning was the Marino of the 2000s. Okay? All right, Marino was first. Manning was the Marino of the 2000s. Is Kevin Huerter a good investment? I don't like any of these third and fourth options on these playoff teams, because I don't see the big boom coming like we did last year where you could have a couple good games in the playoffs and everybody wanted to buy your stuff. The market has just smartened up to where they realize just because a guy has a couple good games doesn't mean he's going to be a good investment. Now, if you personally like Kevin Huerter and you watch a lot of Atlanta Hawks games and you think he has potential to be a future All-Star and be with the team for a while and do things like that, then that's a decision that you have to make. I don't watch the Hawks and follow the second or the third and fourth options on teams enough, because I can't watch every single NBA player. I pick out a couple guys that I like, and that's who I pay attention to. And then I try to keep up with the others, but I don't just sit and say, it's just not going to be like it was last year, guys. It's just the realisticness of it. It's just not going to be, hey, anybody who has a decent game is going to shoot up overnight and be on Sports Card Investor this week. It's just not going to be like that this year. Manning won a title. Marino did not. Manning won 2. I love Peyton Manning. Okay, so that wasn't a knock on Peyton Manning. Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, my 2 favorite football players of all time, or my 2 favorite quarterbacks of all time. Zach Thomas might be my second favorite of all time, but that's because he played for my favorite team. I love Peyton Manning. I was just stating a fact. Marino came first. That's all. Can't argue it. Marino was a rookie in 84. Manning was a rookie in 98. You cannot argue with facts of time. I mean, Peyton Manning's in my top 5, maybe even my top 3 quarterbacks of all time. As collectors, we know all the stats of all the players. How come it's not translating to me hitting my parlays? Just a thought. The stats of all the players. So are you talking, what kind of parlays, or what are you trying to parlay here? What are you trying to snowball? What are my thoughts on Gary Vee being so quiet about cards lately? I think it's a good thing. I think by no fault of his own, cards were getting pumped by him, but not intentionally. I think he was just trying to be one of us and be like, hey, guys, I'm in the cards, and this is what I'm buying. And I don't think that he realized the kind of influence he would have on the market at the time. Not just saying that sports card market was going to take off. That's one thing. But then to, individually point out certain players that he liked, I don't know if he realized how influential he could be in the sports card market. And that could be a reason why he's not talking as much, Maybe it's because the market's down. Maybe he's off doing secret things. I really don't know. I don't think about Gary Vee that much. I don't watch his stuff, and I don't and it's not because I dislike him. A lot of stuff that he did was good for the hobby because he brought a lot of attention to it. But, for the most part, if he was saying there was something he was buying, I wasn't buying it because that just meant it was going to be too expensive. Yeah, Manning won his second title with the Broncos. I like Elway, too. Got a lot of respect for Elway. So basically, Brady, Manning, Marino, would you say for my top 3 quarterbacks of all time? Or is that your top 3 quarterbacks of all time? I don't know. Kyle says he's not talking because he knows what is going to happen. What's going to happen? I wish I knew what was going to happen. Talking about sports betting. Are you betting on games? Yeah, Tal, there you go. He's damned if he comes out and talks and everybody's like, oh my God, Gary Vee's pumping. And then if he doesn't talk, everybody's like, where's Gary Vee at? Where's Uncle Gary? Yeah, Iverson hit his high, I think, also. And you know what? That super high auction was an outlier. if you looked at the Topps Chrome auctions for Iverson, that one that sold for like close to $12,000 was like double of what all the other ones were selling for, and it was on Probstein or PWCC, I can't remember. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was a false sale to try to drive the market. Jaw rookies, I think that they can go down even more come off season. The one thing I will say about the basketball market right now is that if there are players that you like, okay, and it's different for everybody, I'm not going to recommend a player, but if there's a player that you do like right now that's kind of a modern player, maybe from 2019 or so, and you don't mind being tied up into this player for the next 6 months, then I would say buying your target is a good time right now. For example, I was buying Roy Hachimura cards because I believe, so I showed the Roys earlier. But the thing is that these Roys that I bought, these one, like the one that's numbered out of 25, this is a Roy Disco Prism numbered out of 25 and a PSA 10, and I paid like $200 for this. $200, yeah, it's a lot of money, and it's Roy Hachimura, and that's a gamble, and I might lose that $200. But the thing is that coming into this season, his base PSA 10 Prisms were $200. So that goes to show you where the market has come. You can now get a card like this of the people that you like for the price of what their base Prisms were selling for coming into this season. So right now, I believe that there's players that you want to hold on to, and you want to try to get nice cards of them. The price points right now are down to the point to where you can buy now and then sell in a couple months. Now you're going to be tied into these cards, but there will be another hype-driven spike coming into next basketball season. Kuna's on fire. I just listened to Kuna on eBay tonight, and I sold one last week. So am I buying any older cards? Yeah. In the basketball market, I'm buying a little bit of everything. Like I'm looking at 86 Fleer. I always think 86 Fleer basketball is a good buy. It's down right now, so I think it's a good buy to get in on 86 Fleer. It'll always hold collectability. Let's see. In football, not so much. In football, I'm kind of really focused on my modern because I believe that's going to be my quickest turnaround because all the young quarterbacks are going to be pumping up coming into the season, and I'm going to be able to sell them off. Then I'll probably go back and buy. I tend to buy the new stuff, sell it for profits, and use that to buy older, nicer cards that I can put away. Let's see. I mean, I bought a Jordan rookie this year, and I also bought a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson rookie this year. So I bought some older stuff, if you consider that to be older. It's not super older. I bought some older soccer stuff, like a Stanley Matthews rookie, some Bobby Charlton rookies. I'm sitting on a lot of soccer right now. I think soccer's underpriced on a lot of items, even old stuff. Yeah, Siakam's he's not super exciting. He was a big letdown in the playoffs last year, and he never really recovered from that. That's what people still remember that, even though he's having another good year. The numbers that he wasn't expected to do so good once Kawhi left. And then the fact that he still did really good and Toronto was really good caught him to gain some steam and his cards to go up. And then he was a letdown in the playoffs, which left a bad taste in people's mouths. And then coming into this year, there's no surprise factor. He's still playing really good, but he's now, because he played good last year, he's expected to play good. So playing good isn't going to all of a sudden drive his market because he's already expected to do that. And Toronto is losing, and he just hasn't been very exciting. Any soccer pickups lately? Pickups, I don't know. I got this Neymar, but I'm about to list this. This is a Neymar WCCF 2010 9. So his rookies are from like 2010 in his stickers, but this is like a game card type thing. The pop on this is 8. PSA 9's a pop of 8. And I don't even know if there's any 10s, maybe 2 or 3. So he's in the Champions League. Got a lot of hype around him right now. So I believe it's a good time for me to move that. I like the card. I'm moving Ronaldo Prisms. This just sold on eBay. I'm shipping it tomorrow. Just because this is a liquid card, I'll buy these in cheap and then sell them, resell them. When these hit $100, I started buying them, and now I'm selling them anywhere between $225 and $250 because I caught a little bit of heat again. So I'll move back out of them, and then if they bottom out again, I'll buy them again and resell them again when they catch a little bit of heat. It's a boring card, but it's liquid. It's Ronaldo. It's Prism. It'll make you money to then buy something that you really, really want. Soccer pickups. This is a good card right here. Diana Taurasi, PSA 8 women's basketball rookie. I bought this for $175 months ago. This is now close, probably over $1,000. So I have it out because I might move it as well based on my buy-in. Soccer recent pickups is mostly a lot of raw stuff. It's in that box back there, so I'm not going to dig for it. Odd that bigger cards are cool, but minis are not. Yeah, speaking of big cards, remember Icy Bear, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 1972. Kareem Abdul, not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or just Kareem Jabbar, the only card that says Kareem Jabbar on it. All right, guys, I'm over 2 hours and 15 minutes in. It's after midnight here on the East Coast. It's been fun. Okay, I'm going to answer this real quick. Nick says, any Jokic plays out there that are not Prism Select? He went for another 47-15 tonight. Seems like the favorite for MVP. So his rookies are few and far between. He didn't have a lot printed. The Prisms have spiked, which we saw. I still talked about that card being a good buy in a PSA 10 at $1,300, which is expensive. The Don Russ is my second favorite because it says rated rookie on it, and it's from 2015, so there is no optic. So with there being no optic, the people who swear by the rated rookie and love that rated rookie logo, Don Russ is the way to go. I bought one of those for $45 raw, and it's on its way back from PSA in that submission that I have returning. I sent 10 cards to PSA. 9 of them were 1990 Marvel cards, and one of them was a 2015 Don Russ Jokic, because I was hoping for a good grade on the Jokic would cover my entire order and make my money, even if my Marvel cards flop. So we'll see what I get on that. The Revolution is an awesome looking card because it's blue and his jersey is light blue in that. So yes, Adam, that is a great looking card. But really, all Jokic cards are expensive. He's having the MVP effect. When you looked at Giannis last year, across the board, his cards were expensive. Prism, Select, Hoops, Fleer Retro, SP Authentic, which even one of his lower end ones, they were still all over $500. You're going to get that effect on Jokic right now. If you weren't already in on Jokic, it's probably too late because you're buying in at peak prices. So it's tough to get in now. I have some PSA 9 Prisms, no 10s, and I'm going to sell. So this is when I look to sell. So I wouldn't recommend if I'm selling, I'm not going to recommend anybody to buy, because that would just be hypocritical. I would be like, hey, go buy Jokic. He's a good buy right now. I think he's a good sell because he's up. He's peaking. And I'm not going to say, go buy something that I'm selling. That would be like a pump and dump. That's not right. I'm selling Jokic. If you're buying Jokic, that's up to you. That's your decision. But I'm just being clear. I'm selling him. So because I think it's a seller's market for him right now. But guys, I'm going to head out on that. The questions keep coming in. Unfortunately, I can't sit here. It's almost 2 hours and 20 minutes all night and just answer comments. I try to answer as many as I can. I see the LaMelo Ball talk going in real quick. Wait for the off season. His cards will come down just like John Morant cards did, just like Zion cards did. Don't buy LaMelo right now at all, even if he wins Rookie of the Year. All right, guys, thanks. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for joining me. We may have hit 150 in the room at one time tonight, which is always awesome. Appreciate you guys coming out. This is one of my highlights of the week. I actually enjoy my live stream and being able to interact with you guys, giving some time back. And yeah, guys, I'll be putting out a video, maybe 2 this week. We'll see what happens. I got the flip experiment, which is going to be a short video where I'm going to show you, I'm going to try to flip these cards of a player into a high-end card. And I could fall flat on my face with it, but it's just going to be fun. I'm doing the video for fun. It's a project. I might have a PSA reveal coming up. The cards are on the way back in the mail. They could arrive tomorrow. They could arrive Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know. So I at least have those 2 coming up. And we'll see if I can put out something with some investment strategies on it. And again, guys, thanks for coming out. And yeah, see you sometime this week. Till next time, good luck in your investing, guys. See you later.